Ladybeard! Welcome, podcast kittens, to another episode of
Cat with
Beard!
I'm Ladybeard, she's Cathy Cat, and today we have a very, very special guest with us, the one and only Mr. Nicholas Pettas. What's going on, mate?
Yeah.
Yes! Do your cutest introduction. Do a cute, Nicholas Pettas is this!
皆さんこんにちは、ニコラスペタスです。
Yes! That was beautiful. This is fantastic. Nicholas Pettas is for the fight fans amongst us, the martial artists. This man is fight royalty in Japan, ladies and gentlemen. This is we have the Sussex family of the world of martial arts right here in the studio.
I can feel the excitement. You're popping my earballs again, my eyeballs and my earballs.
You look like the Queen of Siam today. This is beautiful, by the way.
I
You look
thought
very,
we have
very
a
nice.
champion here, so I kind of want to at least impress a little bit with some kind of gold in there. There needed to be some gold.
It does
here
look very
today.
pretty.
You look
Thank
you look
you.
amazing. You look incredible. Tell us about yourself, my friend.
Yes.
Oh my God! So just gonna jump right into that.
Yeah,
Yep.
right in.
Ooh, tell us all about you.
Where does one start? I was born in Greece.
Okay.
Yeah.
So are you 100% Greek?
That was an interesting place
no.
to start. When we went from fight royalty to I was born in Greece. You know?
Trust me, they're connected.
All right.
I'll put it together somehow.
What is your elevator pitch when you're in the elevator and you need to introduce yourself, who you are, and what you do?
I don't have one.
Oh, wait, okay.
I recently had an article done in the Tokyo Weekender, which is a 4-pager color page. It's out there now, right now.
Good.
And a friend of mine just texted me. He works for high up in a very big company in Japan. He's like, dude, this is your calling card. If anyone ever asks you, just send that to them. And I'm like, oh, okay, cool. It had some cool photos. It had some really condensed story. But who I am, I'm known in Japan and the rest of the world as the Blue-Eyed Samurai.
Tell us more. Why
Blue-eyed
are you known as
samurai.
that? Apart from the fact that you have blue eyes, why are you known as the Blue-Eyed Samurai?
They're kind of green. Green, blue, they're close enough. But no, why? Why? It's a good question. Well, let me just go back. I was born in Greece and to an American dad, Danish mom. And he passed away when I was very young. And then I grew up in Denmark because my mom's Danish. At 14 years old, here it comes. Now it's putting it all together.
Here we go.
Trust me on this one. Bear with me. I was at a party with some, other teenagers. And this kid came over to me while I was trying to open my bicycle up on my way home. And just a soccer ball kicked me in the head. I just remember this foot coming smack right in my face. And I was like, what? That's like that flight or fight mode. Like some people, they just start fighting for that.
Yeah.
I had absolutely no clue what the hell was happening. So I just didn't know what to do. I remember him trying to knee me in the face and trying to literally pound me. And so I bolted, ran across Big Street. Luckily, I didn't get hit by a car. And then, I was hiding in someone's garden. I just remember being scared shitless. I was lying there and my heart was pounding. And I was like, I couldn't understand the reality of what had just happened. As I'm lying there thinking that, God, if someone comes and he catches me again, what do I do? And I came to a conclusion, and this is like the pivotal point of why I'm today known as the Blue-Eyed Samurai. It starts right there at that point where I'm like, okay, I'm going to start karate and get strong.
Okay, cool.
And then, so I was 14, and I joined the Kyokushin Dojo in Denmark.
Cool.
And I freaking loved it, like, for real. I was absolutely hooked on it. I was a bit chubby kid, and I was a little bit teased when I was a kid because I was chubbier.
A chubby kid too.
We were literally talking about that in the last episode.
Yes, I went from chubby kid to taekwondo. You went to karate. Okay.
Exactly. Yeah. Chubby. Well, yeah, because I got my ass kicked. But yeah, no. But chubby was kind of always a complex. And I think within the first 6 months of starting karate, I'd dropped 12, 16 kilos. Or something. I was skinny. I got skinny. And then, the training started to toughen you up, and I was going to the dojo. I was so committed to this. And the funny thing is, there's no real goal in what it means to become strong. There's no real measurement.
It's not. Yeah, there's no. Now I've made it. It's an ongoing process.
And karate is kind of cool because you could get your belts, right? You start as a white belt, you get blue belt, and you think, oh yeah, I get a stripe on my blue belt. Yeah. You get a yellow belt, and you want to get rid of that yellow belt as fast as possible because it's ugly. And then you get to the green belt. It's like, yeah, now I'm in the darker colors, right? So about 2.5 years into that, I'm already a brown belt. Cool. I was fast.
Wow.
Cool. Yeah, and then.
So just quickly, just for anyone who's not a martial arts nerd paying attention, Kyokushin karate, which is what Nicholas trained, which is what we're talking about, is like the hardest, most violent style of karate that there is. The competition is full contact. There's a lot of getting kicked in the head. There's a lot of knockouts, and the training is brutal. Please continue, sir.
Oh, sorry. So
This
you
is
just
true.
mentioned it's the hardest type of karate, which means there's sometimes some martial arts types in which you're not allowed to do certain things. Like you're not allowed to kick someone in the
Soft
face.
martial arts, there's hard martial arts. Like Tai Chi is a soft martial art, for instance, where there's no contact, it's all fluid and so forth. Whereas Kyokushin karate is the opposite of that. It's all contact all the time.
Wow.
We're officially the first karate style to have full contact competition rules.
There you go.
So and then there was a big hype about this. Here it comes. I'm gonna put this together again. But the person who made this style, known as God Hand or Maso Oyama, was quite the character. He traveled the world around, and to prove that his style was the strongest, he would fight bulls and chop their horns off.
Whoa.
Legend says now, I believe it because I'm a direct,
Pupil of the
pure.
man.
I'm like pure blood bred one. I studied under him for 3 years, and so I believe it. And legend says that he killed and defeated 46 bulls.
46 bulls.
One time he got jabbed in the rib by one of the bulls, and he was bedridden for 6 months, and he almost died.
Really?
True story. Yeah.
Hey, I jabbed by the bull as he took a horn.
Yeah,
goodness.
like flipped him around and stuff. I don't think he defeated that one.
Why did
Yeah, that's not probably that one.
did the bull stop at that jab, or did they trample on him and so forth?
Well, they've got the bull, the guys with the flags that run around and
Yeah.
distract the bulls and stuff like that.
Oh,
so I
okay.
guess they got the roadies, I think they're called.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So they came
to
and
get them
helped
out of there. Yeah.
But I'm sorry, I interrupted your story. So hang on. You get kicked in the head, you train hard, there's no limit to what it means to become strong. You go through your belts, and now you're brown belt.
So this guy then stands there, and we're lifting weights in the gym. We got a little weight area. So I was lifting weights, and the guy comes over and says, "Hey, you're always here at the dojo, man. You're nuts, man. Why are you always here?" And I said, "I don't know. I love it. I'm hooked on it."
And this is Mr. Oyama. Yeah?
No. This is just some random guy in Denmark, and I'm 17 years old.
Okay.
And the guy goes, "You're training like those uchideshis in Japan." And I was like, "What's that?" And he goes, "Yeah, the uchideshis are Sosai's. Sosai is his title. Masoyama's personal students that live in what they call the Wakajishiryo, which is the Young Lions dormitory. And they live there for 1,000 days and dedicate themselves purely to the master." And this bell just went off in my head, and I was like, "Get me, excuse me? He's still alive?" Because I was like, "Oh no, we only have 2 black and white photos of Maso Oyama on the wall. I thought this was like hundreds of years ago. This is before the internet. There's no way of getting information. You go to the dojo, it's not like your sensei sits you down and says, 'Look, I'm going to tell you about Maso Oyama today.' It doesn't happen, right?" And the guy goes, "What do you mean he's still alive? Of course he's still alive. There's lots of guys down there training when I'm living with him." And I was like, "That's it." I went home to my mom that night, and I said, "Look, I got to quit school and save up money because I got to go to Japan now."
Wow, you quit
Whoa!
school.
Yeah.
Wow, that's dedication.
That is dedication.
So yeah, I dropped out of high school and I started working and saving up money. I saved up for money for a year, and just after I turned 18 on March 27, 1991, I landed in Narita Airport.
Oh, wow. 91.
Yeah.
Wow, had you studied Japanese when you got here?
I had this. So my sensei had lived in Japan a little bit. So before they got CDs, they had tapes, tape decks, right? So you had this speed learning tape deck from back in the 80s or something like that. So he gave me this tape deck, and it goes, Nihongo no hatsuon daiichibu a i u, and it goes all the way down, right?
Pronunciation, yeah.
So I'm learning Japanese pronunciation, and I thought I needed to learn what that said in the beginning. So I I kept rewinding that tape and going, so I learned how to say Nihongo no hatsuon daiichibu. And that's it.
You turn up at the dojo and Nihongo no hatsuon daiichibu.
Learned the Japanese
Well, I knew os, right? I knew
pronunciation,
os.
Yeah, os, of course.
Right.
Did you know the names of the techniques in Japanese?
Yeah. Like Maigiri, Chuzansky, Jodansky.
Okay, so you could train because you knew you could communicate in terms of training.
Yeah, well, no, I mean, there is only one word when you're a student or uchideshi. That's os.
Yeah, sure.
So whatever the sensei says, that's what you do.
Os,
And even we're in a dorm, 16 kids, teenagers, like sleeping like side by side, in the dorm. And it's like your senpai, you're above you or 2 years above you, and they're gods. Whatever they do or tell you to do, you have to do it.
Yeah.
They walk into the room, you stand up, even if it's the middle of the night, doesn't matter. They'll come and kick you, if you're not like fast enough and stuff.
Really?
Whoa.
So it was very brutal hierarchy system.
Yeah.
Something I was completely not like expecting. I mean, I came because of Sosai. You know, the first time I met Sosai, I'm like, shaved head, 18 years old, skinny. I was 72 kilos back then.
Oh, wow.
And waiting in the dojo downstairs, and he calls me up to his office, and she's sitting behind the office, right? And I go in, and my senpai's yelling at me to tell her, say, "Oh, 失礼しますって言うんだよ、こうやって入るときは." And I'm like, what? All I heard was os, right? And he's like, yeah, you got to excuse yourself for coming into the room, right? And so I'm like, os. I told her, anyway, we stepped into the room, and I go, os. And then Sosai sits over there behind the office desk, right? And like slowly as a bear, he crawls up and says, "Whoa. Welcome to Tokyo." And I lost it. Like, I don't know. Have you ever met someone that you just are so inspired by that when they're actually in front of you, you start shaking? I couldn't stop shaking. It was an incredible feeling. I've never felt ever like that again. Ever. He comes over, shakes my hand, and he's just like this. A rock of a hand, right? And I'm a skinny little kid, 18 years old. And I'm just so excited. And he pats my head. He goes, "Oh, young boy."
Young boy.
You came all the way.
Yeah.
So training back home and training in Japan, I'm sure there were lots of differences there.
So all the basic techniques, all the kata, all the forms, and whatever it is, it's all the same. That's like going to a McDonald's, to be honest. Anyone can teach you these basics. They're pretty simple. I think there's 46 basic techniques that you learn, and then there's a couple of variations of that. Then you can learn the kata, and with a couple of years, of training, anyone gets good foundation for that. But it's like saying, in Japan they have 100 ramen shops that open up every day and 100 ramen shops that fail. That's as hard as the business statistics on ramen, a good ramen shop is. And the same with karate. We can give you the ingredients to make a ramen, or we can give you the basic techniques. But if you don't know how to make your own food,
Or
if you don't know how to make your own art out of it, then you'll never get any better than what the techniques are. Mm-hmm. And Sosai, or Masaoyama, we trained with him 4 times a week when I was Uchideshi. When he passed away straight after I graduated, so he's gone now, may he rest in peace. But he never taught us anything fancy, ever. But I swear, it was like being in a room with someone where you're just gonna get stronger just by breathing the same air. Like, I truly believe that. If he's like, "Go do your best in a tournament," you're like, I will die for you in a tournament.
That's where
yeah.
samurai comes in.
That's
The samurai
right.
part of it comes in.
So
yeah.
tell us about the training. Kyokushin has the reputation of there's a lot of hitting each other. There's a lot of getting hard, and sort of it kind of seems to me like the attitude of Kyokushin is one of, when someone attacks you, you can block if you want, but you can also just be so hard that they punch you and it doesn't affect you.
Wow.
I just want to clarify one thing before we get into this. There's no punching to the face in Kyokushin.
That's correct.
Yeah, so it's not we bare knuckle. So when we fight in tournaments, there's no shin guards, there's no protection except a foul cut. But you can't hit to the face, but you can kick to the face. So from the neck down, we condition ourselves. Like literally, we use body hard, medicine balls to hit the body in the stomach. We use hands where we hit each other. So we'll be hitting each other constantly back and forth. And then at some certain point, you get to a level where you learn how to absorb the punches.
Yeah.
But that's also because your body has been conditioned to take them. And then at one point you get to another level where it's like pride, and it's like, yeah. And we got these where we hit each other like back and forth like this to see who can stand the longest. Cool. And I never lost that one.
Good man.
Whoa,
That's
this
awesome.
sounds like the stuff out of anime that you absorb the punches. What
That's
even?
awesome. That's awesome.
It's
Kick each other in the legs.
Yeah,
as
I
well,
don't know. You probably see the Kung Fu Master movies, the Drunken Master, the Suiken, the old movies with Jackie Chan.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you remember when he's hanging upside down and he's got like cups of water and he has to put it up there by doing sit-ups. And then he takes the buckets and pours them over. Well, we pretty much did stuff like that.
Whoa. Okay, tell us
stuff.
more about some training techniques.
Oh.
Like something that out of the movies.
You did that thing, that big baseball bat looking thing where you turn around your head. You did all that kind of those kinds of drills?
That's more Dento ryu, like Okinawa style karate. Okay. They do that. And I actually feel that we kind of got cheated a little bit in that sense because there's so much that I learned later on in life that the Ryukyu, the Okinawa style karate, which are the original forms, basically, which then Kyokushin has been derived from and gotten into what it is today. I feel that a lot of the training they do, because they literally, and this is crazy, we don't do that in Kyokushin, but we should. The makiba training, for example.
Yes.
You'll have a bag of sand or a board that has got wrapped around with like string and stuff, and you'll hit that, to like make your knuckles, condition your knuckles to become like rocks, and then you'll practice that by breaking rocks and chopping wood and doing all these things. Yeah, we used to kick baseball bats and big blocks of ice and all these crazy things that we could find ourselves to break. But in Okinawa, they're really into this. It is a part of the training in class is where you condition your body. And when the first time I went down to Okinawa and I saw Okinawa style karate, I was like, these guys are like showing me that. I'm looking at their fingers and hands, and I'm thinking, what's going on there, right? And then the guy goes, right? He does this with his fingers straight, and he hits, right?
With his straight
with
middle finger?
Straight fingers like this. And then he teaches, he's an old sensei, he teaches me, look, this is the difference between the Okinawa styles and, conventional sports karate styles that he called kyokushin. And he says, because we will kinniku chiru. That's what he said. The word says chiru. Yeah.
Your muscles?
He will literally be able to rip your larynx out, or like literally use his fingers and toes and elbows and stuff to like completely destroy you. So I was like, yeah, okay, this just takes it to another level.
Whoa, okay. But that's where all the karate derives from, is what you said, like the basic Okinawa.
Well, so the reason for, and this is quite interesting, the reason why they couldn't close their hands, because a closed fist was considered a weapon. It still is, even today. But if you
poke someone with your fingers,
someone, you'll be all right.
Well, I just poked the guy. His muscles carved themselves out. I don't know what happened.
It's true. It's crazy.
So, all right. So tell us, how did you start competing?
So very early on, I took my black belt in 1 year in Japan. I started over as a white belt, because when Sosai first met me, he's like, you got to train hard in Japan. Okay. And he's just like, yeah. And then he says, you should try go to black belt in 1 year, second dan in the second year, and then third dan. Normally this takes a process that takes about 8-9 years. Yeah. But I did that. I pretty much did that. Except for the third year, I had a broken leg and I didn't go for the third dan, but I did it like the following year. But yeah, I mean, I trained really hard. So, and then I think it was my second year in Japan, where a friend of mine, Judd Reed, I don't know if you know him.
Oh, yeah.
He's an Australian guy. Oh. He was 1 year above me, ends up being the first foreigner ever to graduate from this program, by the way. And then I become the last because Sosai passes away. But he fought in a tournament somewhere. I don't know. He got invited somewhere. He used to be the Australian lightweight champion. And he fought in a tournament, won it. And then all these branch chiefs from all over Japan, like specifically one down in Shizuoka, had his eyes on me. And he's like, hey, Judd and Nick, they should come and fight in my tournament. Cool. So he calls up Sosai and says, yeah, I want your boys to come down. We'll pay for the tickets. So we got on a train one morning, and then drove down to Shizuoka, and we fought. And I ended up winning that tournament.
Good, man. Excellent. Yeah. And your competition career then developed, and you found yourself
22 years old. I was the European heavyweight champion.
Amazing. Wow. Congratulations, sir. All right, so then you went back to Denmark. You fought as well.
Well, see, I wanted to compete in the World Championships.
Okay.
So in Kyokushin, the World Championships only once every 4 years. Okay. And so to qualify for that, I had to compete in Denmark. Okay. And I'm not going to get into details, but Sosai passes away right after my graduation. And then Kyokushin, as a big, umbrella organization that spans 127 countries all over the world, is now in a turmoil, because people are like, okay, who's going to be the next leader? What's going on? Anyway, I go back to Denmark, and because of this, that Sosai passes away, the ripple effect had led to the organization in Denmark being a complete mess. And I go back, and I wanted to compete and win the Danish title to get to fight in the world tournament. And then I'm like, okay, well, what do I do now? And then my sensei says, well, in May, we've got the European Championships. And I was like, oh my God. I go from being not a champion, small local champion in Japan, to like fighting in the European heavyweights, right? And I'm like, this is going to be interesting.
So you skipped the Denmark Championships because it was all chaos?
They had canceled the tournament. I got there and they canceled the tournament. So I'm like, yeah, okay. I stayed in Denmark for a couple of months. I trained up until that day in May, which was randomly on my mom's birthday.
Oh.
And, happy birthday, Mom.
Yeah. Thank you. And I basically knocked everyone out and won the tournament. It was great.
Good man. Good man. That's
Way
excellent.
To go.
Yeah.
Right. So now, and then, how'd you find yourself in the K-1?
K-1.
For those who don't know what it is, what is the K-1?
This is such a martial arts nerd out conversation. Poor Cathy is stuck between the two of us. See her kind of doing this. Poor girl.
I'm trying to follow. And hey, there might be more people listening. So what is K-1?
You want to explain what
K-1
is?
There's a European Championship, the World Championship, and then there's K-1.
No. They're not directly connected like that.
K-1 is a very famous kickboxing competition.
So how do we come from world tournament, Europe tournament, and then maybe aiming for world to suddenly K1? Like, what is the?
Because
jump?
K1 is a different sport. We're not karate.
Yeah, that's what
Completely
I'm
different
wondering.
sport,
Like,
yeah.
why are we
It's kickboxing.
shifting?
Just to help you out on that one. So I finished 5th in the world.
I finished 5th in the world at the World Championships.
Yeah, exactly. Thank you. I wanted to have the link to that.
So European Championship, you knock everyone out.
Yeah.
World Championship, 5th in the world.
Yeah.
Very
A
impressive.
couple of years go by, not so many, I think 1 or 2 years. And at that time, there was a very famous former Kyokushin karate, also European champion called Andy Hoog.
Andy Hoog!
Yeah.
Axe kick.
And Andy Hoog, he was my absolute hero. I looked up to this guy like nothing else. So when I won the European Championships, I was like, oh my God. I'm as in karate, I'm the same as Andy Hoog now. Andy Hoog had placed 2nd in the world tournament once. I came 5th, so I was like, I'm pretty close. Anyway, long story short, K1 calls us up to Kyokushin and says, yeah, we want 3 boys. We want Francisco Filio, and we want Glaube Feitosa, and we want Nicholas Pettas to come fight in K1.
Awesome. That's fantastic.
But it's kickboxing. So
punching
to
the
be
face.
very clear, yeah. I've now spent more than 10 years on not punching people in the face and not getting punched in the face. And in Kyokushin, if someone touches your face with a foot, that is like the biggest insult you can ever have.
Okay.
So
right.
I can remember the times I've been kicked in the head in 25 years of karate.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, really?
And kickboxing is something completely different because the first day you put on a pair of gloves, someone smacks you in the face, you get a nose blood, and it's just like, oh my God. It's like literally American football and soccer. It's that different.
Yeah, it's very different.
Yeah.
So you have trained all your reflexes and everything, knowing no one's going to punch you in the face or kick you in the face, and now you're actually going to somewhere where that is the sport.
Yeah.
How did you train for that?
So I quit karate and I went to America and I trained in a Muay Thai gym for 6 months, and then I went to boxing during that time too. So I literally had to reinvent myself. I used what I had. My kicks were good, so I stuck with that, and they still worked. But it's like putting them together and also getting comfortable with having defense and stuff. And I'll be honest, I walked into the first fight against Stefan Leko and I got knocked out in the second round.
Really?
And I didn't fight in K1 for 2 years after that. I wasn't ready. I wasn't ready, and so I had to spend that 2 years. I literally said, okay, well, what does one do if one wants to study something, right? You go back to school. You go back to school and you go back to basics and you got to learn the basics. So I started in a class that you would start in a kickboxing gym.
Okay.
What did they do? What they tell you to hold your hands up, jab, 1, 2, 3, and so they teach you the basic of the footworks and everything, and then. Of course, I pick up on things very much faster than a complete beginner would be doing, and I got pretty good at it. So talking about when that started to be good, in 2001, I got offered to fight in the Japan K-1 Grand Prix.
Awesome.
And,
okay.
Yeah, and so...
So you're back to Japan now.
Yeah, no, so during this time, I'm able to fly out and train overseas and come back, and so my life had changed a lot. There was a lot of money coming in.
Oh, good.
They were paying really well back in the day. Even I made good cash.
Good.
So
Yeah, that generation fighters got a lot of money. Huh?
yeah,
Good,
it was great. I made more back then as a beginner kickboxer in K1 than the champions do today. So it's nuts.
Wow, okay. Times have changed.
Yeah. So I was traveling a lot, but anyway, I got invited to fight in it, and Musashi, who was the favorite, he's also from another karate organization.
Musashi's a kickboxing legend, ladies and gentlemen.
He's an absolute legend. He really carved his name in that industry very well. Yes. But he was also not very popular.
Right.
Because his fighting style was he was not as physically strong as the foreign fighters, and so he had to come up with some kind of strategy that would work for him. And a lot of his fights were a lot of evasion and a lot of outboxing, a lot of not so much confrontation, and so but he kept winning.
I mean, Floyd Mayweather gets a similar criticism, doesn't he?
Yeah. We want to see him biff it out, right? Yeah. But I mean, he literally said in an interview, I remember this very vividly. He said, "Yeah, I'm not fighting for you. I'm fighting for me."
Yeah, right.
Anyway, we had been scheduled to fight twice, and the first time he said he had an injury and pulled out, and then someone told me that one of the other fighters, I think it was Sam Greco actually, he's like, "Oh, Nick, he's not injured. He was sparring in the gym last night." I was like, "What?" Seriously? Anyway, that happened once, and then the second time it happened, and again I heard the same story. He's like, "No, he was sparring in the gym yesterday." I was just like, "This." Anyway, I got to the tournament, and we had to draw numbers, and we all drew numbers. He got into the A block, and I was like, "Yeah, fuck it. If I want to, going to fight him, I'm going to go in the final. I don't want to fight him somewhere, in the first or second round." So I took the B block, so we were furthest away. So if we had to fight, it would be in the final for the title.
Whoa.
And you made it to the title?
Yeah, I knocked my first guy down.
Good.
Knocked my second guy down. And then in the final, go up against Musashi. It was a very long fight. It was a fantastic fight, to be honest. I've heard, and I don't know if it's true, but I heard that the fight took 48% in ratings that year.
Great, good, congratulations.
Yeah, so that was really awesome. The TV Nintendo, they absolutely loved this.
Did it fight on New Year's Eve? Yeah, was it?
No, this was before the New Year's Eve shows were starting.
Okay.
But then in the final, we get 3 rounds, and it's a draw.
Oh!
And the good thing is, though, in the sense that it's a draw, you get an extension, so you get another round. So in the last round, or not, there's actually up to 2 extensions when it's a title fight. But that one extra round that I got, I kind of knew that if I hit him, because I'd been training in Holland, and the sensei over in Holland, Johan Vossa, said, look, he can take 1 punch, he can take 2 punches, he's good enough to take 3 punches, but if you hit him with 1 punch, don't stop until he drops.
Okay.
So I remembered that, and I was like, okay, if I hit him with something good, I'm just gonna go hellfire on him. Yeah. So there's like 20 seconds left of the fight, and I caught him with one, and it's like, this is it.
Cool, awesome.
And I just went for it, and he falls over the edge a little bit, and so it didn't knock him out, but it was a standing 8 count. So I became the K-1 Japan Grand Prix champion.
Congratulations, that's amazing,
Oh my
man.
gosh,
That
I
is
was so
amazing.
emotionally invested in this story.
That's so amazing.
I think my mouth opened for the later half of the story, and I just went, wow.
Is that what I thought you were trying to ask a question?
No,
I was like,
I was like
You're excited.
invested in it.
That's fantastic.
You're gonna
That's
see that
awesome,
on
man.
YouTube now, my
That's
mouth
awesome. I'm
opens
gonna
up
go
for
look
the
up your
story.
fight. I'm sorry,
Whoa,
I
yeah, I wanna
haven't
see
seen
that now
haven't seen
too.
the fight with Musashi.
Yeah.
Now I will. That's
Oh.
fantastic.
I actually have one that I comment on my channel called the Tokyo
Oh,
Show.
cool. I'll check it out.
Yeah.
So
We'll link it in the thingamajig or something.
let's
Yeah.
do that. How did your life change after that?
Okay, so that 48% in ratings was nuts, because from going to being Nicholas Pettas, suddenly I was Nicholas Pettas. In the sense, and this is not the same. Like, I
Now
couldn't
you're a
walk down the
superstar.
street.
Yes.
You know, you seeing kids over there in the park playing, and they go, "Whoa, Nicholas Pettas, kakatotosh," like this. And so they're like mimicking me. I was like, this is crazy.
That's awesome. It's
crazy.
You're a superstar.
Yeah, it was amazing. It really was. With it came lots of money.
Good.
And fame and all of the above.
Good
What that
times.
comes with. Yeah,
Good
I had.
times.
It's
Had a
good
good
times.
time. Good.
Well, the funny thing is, because I remember I just said that he wasn't so popular. All right, so after the tournament, you know, me and the guys that we're training with, we went out to Roppongi to get
Have a nice time.
have some drinks and have some fun, and anyway,
Enjoy your lives, as it were.
Yes.
it was nuts, man. We must have gone to at least 20 different bars, and any bar we walked in, it was just like, get that man some champagne.
That's the highlight.
That's hilarious, man. That's so good. And then, so now you're superstar Nicholas Pettas. What happened? You kept fighting, yeah? You're the champion. You have to keep fighting.
Right? That's the logical thing to do, right?
You fought the monster dude with the giant face, Kim thingamajig.
Yeah, I just saw you fought the
Kim
guy
Yong-hyun.
who's
Kim Yong-hyun, yeah.
217 centimeters tall.
Listen to this, though. Before I fight him, in 2002, I kick a guy on the shin, and I snap my own shin in half.
Oh, no.
God.
That's what Anderson Silva did, huh?
Yeah, same thing.
Oh, mate. That's like the worst injury available in martial arts.
I'll tell you why it's
see
the
these
worst.
Videos of this in slow motion. And there'll be a kick, and as the leg's coming back, you see the shin go blip, 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 blip,
no.
little
Oh,
rubber
no.
around
It's
the place.
rubber.
Oh, mate.
I remember
that's
seeing that and
awful.
putting my foot down on the mat, and the shin started going that way. And I was just like, ugh. Anyway, this is where I became stupid famous for something else I did in Japan. As I'm lying there on the mat, I realized that snapped my leg. It sounded like this,
Oh, no.
right? And then I'm lying on the mat, and I'm like, oreta. In Japanese, I'm saying, I broke my leg. The referee comes over to us and says, don't talk. And I was like, no, I broke my leg. I actually broke my leg. And some of my friends were like, oh, dude, you're so Japanese. Like, in the most traumatic moment of your life, you're speaking in Japanese.
Yeah, right.
Actually, good point. Orita, I broke it. in
It's
Japanese.
interesting to me that you're not going, ah! You have words to say
I
at
was
this moment.
completely like, get the doctor. I broke my leg. So it took me 5 or 6 years before I got to fight against Kim Yong-hyun.
Okay.
So how long did it take you to first heal that shin?
Yeah, heal
and
that.
then train again?
Worst injury
Like,
available.
how much percentage of that was healing? How much percentage of that was training? Of those 5 years.
So back in the day, they didn't have the same operation they do today. They drill down your knee and put a stick inside it, and they put some bolts in it.
It was what they did back in the
Yeah,
day.
they still do that. This is the safest way to do it, and so that's fine. So then eventually it takes them about 6 to 8 months before they can pull out the bolts. If you want, you can pull out the stick. I didn't. I just left it in there. I didn't want to go through another operation, basically.
So you got a stick in your leg right now.
So
Yeah.
whenever you go to the airport check-in, it goes beep.
Yeah, but that's also because I got 2 replaced hips.
Oh, okay.
Oh, okay. Wow.
Robot man, keep going. All right, very good.
Let's not get to the hips. Anyway, so then they took it out. They took the bolts out, and I started kicking the bag, and I was good to kick the bag, and I felt comfortable. About 10 months after the operation,
Wow.
then I broke it again.
No.
Oh, the same one.
Same one,
You
same
broke
spot.
your stick.
The first time, not the stick. The stick doesn't break. The bone breaks. But the first time I sparred, and I was wearing shin pads and everything. The first time I sparred, same low kick, same everything.
Oh, mate.
Then it took me another 10, 12 months. So it took me about a year and a half, a little bit more to properly heal. And then I started fighting 3 years and 4 months later. So I was out for 3.5 years.
Okay.
Wow,
bro.
That must have been for
That's
a champion,
awful.
or like I want to go back in the ring. I want to get there. That must be really frustrating in a way of like, come on, heal.
But
finally.
also kind of makes you legendary as well, though. Oh, champion guys, you know, it's,
Yeah,
got
like coming,
it's
trying to
an
do a
amazing
comeback.
story, and now you come back road, you break it again. Ah, you know.
But so
Pretty wild. I'll tell you, the worst thing about breaking a leg was really not, it was in the middle of I was at the peak of my career. And getting through such a traumatic injury, I didn't fight for 3.5 years. Remember, I was a professional fighter. If I can't fight, I can't make money.
Yes, what you gonna do?
It's not like I have a dojo, or at the time. Plus, I just left Kyokushin to break away and do my own thing. And so I mean, I think that was the hardest part of it. It was really that there was no finance and all the money was gone. I felt also through fame and fortune, I had some really cool fans somehow that ended up like sponsoring me and helping me through hard times and stuff like that.
lovely.
Yeah, it's really amazing. I really think that Japan has been really good to me. Yeah.
Good man, that's lovely.
So you break your shin, you break it again, but later on you fight a dude who's 217 centimeters tall?
Yeah.
So this man we was called the Korean Giant, wasn't he, or something like that?
Yeah, so I don't know if you know, Japanese sumo, right? They start from over here, boom, and then they fight. In Korean sumo, they start by holding on the thing, 'cause it's called shirum. And so he's the champion of that.
Oh, he was a Shitum champion.
Yeah.
I see. Okay, all right.
And so he came in and he was just huge, like 2.17
This
is
man
crazy.
had that gigantism condition when you get your jaw
Very,
gets
very
huge
tall,
and you grow
huge.
really tall. So he was.
Oh, wow.
He'd come into the ring and he'd just like step over the ropes. He would just. He's this gigantic man.
I swear to God, the first time I saw him, I was like, dude, this is nuts. Like he was up here somewhere.
Again, it sounds like the stuff out of anime.
It sounds like an anime, doesn't it? It
That
sounds like-
fight, actually, when we were with Chris Broad, we might talk about it next time. We showed it to Ludwig, and he was like, "What is this?" But it looks like an anime.
Tell me about the fight. How did the fight go?
The fight went according to my plan. Funny thing is, snapping my shin taught me how to kick, so you don't snap your shin.
Okay, good.
Good.
Big
Which
plot.
is a, for me, I invented something I call a double low kick. So what happens if you're fighting, to keep it super simple, if you're kicking to kick on his thigh and someone blocks it, you pull it up, right? If you then put your leg down, as they also put it down, because it's a natural action, they block and put it down, and then the second one.
again.
So it was a low one on a calf kick. So I'd calf kick the guy, and then if he put his leg down properly, I would just double kick it.
Ah, cool.
And that would hit every time. So the plan was against this guy. I was like, okay, he's gonna be tall, really tall. So if I had to fight someone down here, what would I not like? What could I probably not be so happy with? And it would probably be really fast kicks, right? This was my theory. And then if I was that big, what would I do? I was just trying to muscle him around and knee him in the head, like just rough him up, right? Exactly, that's what happens in the fight. He comes in, tries to knee me around and muscle me around, and I just try and like keep tapping him. So I tap, 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 and then you move, tap, tap, move, tap. Protect yourself. Don't look down. Or he was going to kick in the head, right? Anyway, get to right at the end of the first round, and I drop him with one low kick.
Ah, cool.
And then he comes back out for the second round. And I was like, dude, I got you now. Like, I know it. It's just a question of time. But you don't want to injure yourself. So I'm moving around, being smart about it. And he was so tall that at that time, I hadn't even wrapped my hands. You're wearing boxing gloves, but normally you wrap your hands to protect it so that it doesn't break. But I was like, there's no way I can box him. He's too tall. Forget about it. Don't wrap my hands. So I just put on the gloves to keep my hands light. Then I get a high kick in. I actually also got him with an axe, but I got a high kick in. And then he does a jab. And I remember I slipped the jab. and then I got him on the chin.
Oh, cool.
With an overhand, like kind of crazy Hail Mary kind of punch. So I got him in the chin and I was like, oh, I got him. And then you just see this flurry of punches. And then he just falls like a slow giant.
He would have been like a tree falling.
It was crazy.
Wow.
He just like slowly crumbled and laid down.
Oh, wow. That's amazing.
Wow.
Yeah.
Hang on. You kicked him in the head.
Yeah.
He's 217 centimeters tall.
Yeah. I
right.
actually bet one of my call I had 10,000 yen on that.
Wow.
That's hilarious. We are certainly over time on
We
this
are
episode,
definitely over time, but there's more. We want to hear
more
more.
to talk
There's
about.
so much more to talk about. So we will see you again on the next episode. Thank you
Real
so
quick,
much.
where do people find you on the internet?
Junk Food Japan. Nicholas Pettas also has a Junk Food Janakte. The Tokyo Show.
The Tokyo Show.
The Tokyo Show. Yeah, that's basically, you can find me on Instagram, Facebook, whatever.
Okay, and Junk Food Japan.
Junk Food Japan is my main channel on about food, and then the Tokyo Show is about martial arts, basically.
Okay, cool. And you're at Nicholas_Pettas, and just Nicholas Pettas? Or?
Nicholas Pettas _
What are you on the internet?
Cathy Cat _ TV. I'm still amazed. I want to hear more. So on the next episode of Cat with Beard, we'll hear more. And Ladybeard.
Ladybeard _ also my group, Babybeard _ We'll be back very soon with another episode with Nicholas Pettas. Cat with Beard! Us!
Us.